What's going on, everyone? Sid Gordon here with the Sid Gordon podcast, powered by Core Medical Group. And today I have an interesting character with me, an amazing guy. Super excited to have him. Darren, thanks so much for coming.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. I'm looking forward to it.
So I got to meet Darren through one of our amazing staff members at Core Medical, Erica, who's a PA with us. She's been with us coming up on about 3 years, I think. She's been doing an amazing job and has a great taste in men. So
I have great taste in women, I should say.
Yeah, she's awesome. And so Darren came down originally. We met when you were living in South Carolina, right?
Yeah, I was in Charleston.
And now moved to Wellington, so we're neighbors. And came today to chat a little bit about his life and his story. I'm excited to share it with you guys. You know, sometimes we speak a lot about hormones, and sometimes we just have new dynamics on this podcast, just to show everyone how well-rounded we are and what our community looks like. So thank you. You want to start? Just give us like a background on where you grew up and kind of.
Yeah, I was born in Ireland. Actually, I was born in Northern Ireland. My father worked with for Goodyear. He's American. Went over to Ireland and opened up a factory in Northern Ireland. Met my mother, who's Irish, and I was born there. And we moved to the States when I was a kid, moved to Ohio, and then we moved to Tennessee and Iowa, back to Ohio, and then I moved out to LA in 98, I believe, 97, 98.
By yourself or?
Yeah, by myself, man. I packed up. I had a crappy GMC Jimmy that I packed to the gills, and I towed a little U-Haul trailer behind me with all my Target furniture.
Oh yeah.
and went out to LA and rented an even crappier apartment.
We have a lot in common. I actually left Massachusetts by myself at 20 years old, threw everything I had in a U-Haul, drove to Florida, and I found an apartment on the way down here.
Yeah.
And started my journey here. California was a lot different back then than it is now.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And a lot of people have migrated, from there to here. And
yeah.
But John, my brother-in-law is out there, John. So I spent quite a bit of time. I mean, the place where he's in Ojai. I don't know if you've ever been there before, but
I have been to Ojai. There's a great, I think it's called Ojai Brewery. I've been up there.
The place is unbelievable.
Yeah.
So when you were young, you guys moved around a lot. Was that hard or?
Yeah, it for sure was. It was always, you'd go to one place and the kids would accept you, and then you go to another place and they wouldn't, and it was always kind of like that, fighting for your place. But I really enjoyed it. I think my favorite place that I lived was Tennessee. We lived in a little town called Lexington, Tennessee, very small. It was kind of like the Friday Night Lights situation.
Oh, that's awesome.
You could hear the football. Stadium from your house, and I say stadium, bleachers, and everybody went to Sonic afterwards, and it was just this really kind of small town life. Everybody knew each other, and there was a lot of comfort in that, and I just really loved that, and gravitate more towards that now that I'm older, having lived in LA for 20 plus years. Yeah,
the small town stuff is I'm in the same place. We're here in Boca. I love Boca. It's been amazing.
Yeah.
When I moved here, I remember driving down the beach, and I looked over at my buddy. I'm like, dude, it's Tuesday. The beach is full.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, man, just work hard. I'm like, well, what do you mean? He's like, you can outwork everyone there at the beach. Yeah. So I settled in well. I worked really hard and became super successful.
Yeah.
And Boca's been really well. I mean, it's been great for me and my family, and now I really enjoy sitting on my balcony in South Carolina, just staring at the boats go by, not doing much, and sitting in the woods, But
yeah, you've got a beautiful property out there.
Thanks so much.
Fortunate enough to see it.
We're gonna have to have you there full time this year for the event.
Man,
it'd be great.
I will be there. Count me in.
So one of the reasons why I brought you on today, Darren, is because I've paid pretty close attention to how diversified you've been through your life and how you've kind of been in a few different dynamic positions. I don't want to say reinvented yourself, but you've kind of really maybe taken some risk and had a lot of faith in yourself. I believe based on the based on what little I do know of you, but I'm a pretty good judge there. So when you were growing up, what were your plans?
Oh man, I think we went to it's funny. My dad unfortunately lost his job. I think when I was in middle school, and he found another one, but it was kind of a scary time. And I remember my dad kind of gambled on a trip for us. We went to the Caribbean, which was like we never took extravagant trips like that, but I was just in love with the clear water and that kind of lifestyle. So in my mind, I had always dreamed to like open up I used to draw pictures of it, a bar and grill on the ocean that would also double as a scuba shop.
Really? Did you dive?
No, and I don't even dive.
Okay,
but it was just
those are hard shops to run if you don't dive, Darren.
That was my kid thought. And
That's
then
awesome.
As I got a little bit older, I really gravitated towards the acting for whatever reason. I know why. I mean, I loved movies, and I thought, man, if I could do that as a job, that would be pretty spectacular.
So you just rolled the dice and just
so I took a little class, and I was living in Columbus, Ohio at the time.
Mm-hmm.
I took a class there, and really fell more in love with it, and decided I'm going to do it. And so I saved up money one summer. I was working for a contractor, which will make more sense later in our story.
Yeah,
and
seems like it.
Yeah, and I ended up saving up money and going out to LA, and I was fortunate enough. I got out there, and I'm sure your brother-in-law John would tell you there was a thing called Backstage West then. I don't know if it's still in publication, but what it would be, it was a trade magazine. It'd come out every Thursday at midnight, and you'd read it, and at the back of the magazine it would tell you, it would all be all the student films that were being cast, all the non-union work. And the idea was, as an actor at that time, you would do these projects and build your resume.
Portfolio,
yeah. And as an actor, your resume is you on film. So you have to build this body of work in order to show a casting director or a producer director, look, this is what I can do. And so that was kind of a journey. And I did, these student films, and eventually I got a pretty good agent, or an okay agent, and started booking guest stars and co-stars on television. What was your first
one that you're...
I did a show called, I think it was called Mismatch. And I can't remember who the lead of the show was.
Okay.
But I did a show called Mismatch. That was my first network show. And then, I just did a guest star.
So were you still doing like handyman work and carpenter work at the same time as you were there?
Well, at the time, when I first moved out to LA, the tried and true survival job was bartending.
Okay, yeah,
waiting tables. And so I bartended and waited tables.
That's why every bartender is an actor.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, gotcha.
And then, as the years passed by, I was actually in an acting class, and a buddy of mine, Randy, was a GC, had just gotten his GC license. And he was doing acting and also being a GC. And he said, well, I need a second. And so I said, and I was handy enough. I had, had worked for that GC when I was a kid. And so I said, well, I'll jump on with you. So we started doing kitchen and bathroom remodels.
Oh, nice.
And that's kind of how I fell into really working with my hands, simultaneously being an actor. So construction became a second survival job.
Yeah. So I spent a lot of time in Venice. And that place has changed a little bit. I don't know if you've been.
I worked at the other room. Do you remember the other room?
No, I mean, I have only really been going there for about 6 years to be with John and his family. His brother was helping me out with some stuff too. I stayed at the Ritz in Venice, and then we ended up going back there this year. I hadn't been there in 3 years. Have you been there lately?
I've been, we just went back in October last
So
year.
it's definitely not the same as it was before. It's like there's a huge transit issue, and people are robbed a lot, and but the houses are still 1,000 square feet, like $6 million.
Yeah,
which is like insane to me because I thought the market was crazy here.
Yeah,
but now it shows you what the capability is in Florida because everyone's coming here now.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed Venice. They're a block from the boardwalk.
Yeah,
the house it's gorgeous, and the type of person in California, like there's no there's no like, I don't mean to say this wrong. There's like no normal person there, like, right?
Right, yeah.
Like everybody has this like, this like cool thing about them or whatever it is.
Yeah.
I was attracted to that kind of the last time that I was there, kind of looking around. You walk into Starbucks on the boardwalk.
Oh, yeah.
And the napkin holders are drilled to the countertops. You can't move a chair anywhere. They're all like concrete. And then there's like a glass over the front of where the Starbucks is, because it's like, I guess it's really dangerous. So I'm sitting there just watching, looking around, and I walk outside the door. I was going on a run. And this woman comes up to me and just starts screaming at me in my face. And I'm like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah.
And the girl comes out of the Starbucks and she's like, don't worry about that. She does that to everybody. And I'm like, all right, cool. I couldn't understand what she was saying. But, it's a beautiful place. I guess it's the new governor is cleaning up, or police chief is cleaning up. But, it's got so much character. And that's important, for my kids to see, I think, because I'm trying to get them out of the hustle and bustle of Boca Raton. It's just not a realistic place to grow up, I don't think. And, we're traveling quite a bit now and kind of getting out of this space. So,
yeah, it's a bit like Mad Max there.
Oh, that's perfect. There you go.
LA had a resurgence for a minute when I moved out there, and Venice especially. Abbot Kinney, which is kind of the main drag. The rental properties for businesses, it was higher than Rodeo Drive, and this was like maybe 5 years ago, to rent a shop space, or a business. And all these businesses started coming in, Adidas and everything. And it's funny, a lot of the locals in Venice felt like they had gutted the spirit of Venice at the time, because all these kind of chains came into Venice. And,
really?
But it really brought up Venice. It was, it became a lot safer and easier.
Yeah.
And now I think they're kind of on the downturn again. But Venice is a great, there's some really great artists in Venice that are just unassuming, and you'd never know. And like I bartended at this restaurant or a bar called The Other Room, and he'd be a guy that you'd talk to for a year, and he'd just be getting a pint of the same beer and then you find out that he's an amazing artist, and a renowned artist or some, it's just, it's very unassuming, and it's really culturally diverse, to what you said. It's a great place to kind of see everything.
Yeah.
All walks of life.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Just don't go up past 6. So one of the reasons why I had you on today is because I was looking at like your overall story and kind of where you are right now in your journey, right? Yeah. And I think it's super cool, right? So like if you asked me, 20 years ago where I'd be today, it would not be, owning Core Medical Group and working with veterans and, amazing people and being able to do all this stuff. And I said to myself, man, I wonder if he ever thought when he like 20 years ago, if he was going to be making like super high-end furniture, acting, and like, doing a side gig with these awesome charcuterie boards that you made for the event and stuff. And it's important for this audience to understand, because, we have a lot of, the majority is core patients, right? But there's a lot of patients that are following us that are veterans that came back and they're a little lost, right? And we help them out quite a bit. And I think your story is important because, they had a plan. They were going in the military. And when they got out, they're a lot of them are lost. Very similar to someone who played in the NFL for 20 years. And then they graduate playing from the NFL and they're like, shit, what do I do now?
Yeah.
Whether they have a lot of money or not, a man and a woman, we need worth. We need something to do, right?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of, we have a large audience of people that have a hard time finding that next direction, right? And whether or not you had a hard time finding that direction, can we talk a little bit about like how you fell into the place that you are in now, and like, was it passion driven, or was it a graduated passion? Did you just like see something like, wow, I really want to build that all of a sudden, and then end up doing it better than you saw? Or like, can you give them some inspiring dynamic and direction of how life is going to take you in directions, and sometimes you can't control it?
Yeah. I mean, first and foremost, I never thought I would ever live in Florida. I mean, I love it here, but it's funny how life directs you to different places. I've always leaned into my faith. I've always had a spiritual connection with God and Jesus Christ. So that's important to me. I feel like I've always kind of, I guess, fallen into my passion. I mean, acting was and is a passion, and I hope that I'll circle back to it. But I've always been an artistic person in nature, creative, and I think acting is an extension of that, and then woodworking is definitely an extension of that. I think there's a lot of fulfillment in thinking something and creating it, bringing it into into existence, as far as woodworking. So I would say that, I think that with faith and whatever your faith is, and with passion, you can really kind of do anything, but you have to be committed and find that niche. And I think most importantly, there's so much stress now in our lives, and we can't get away from the phones. There's constant emails. There's, so we have to find those corners in our life that make us happy. And for me, woodworking is that. It's something that I can go to. I find solace in. I find peace in. It's just me and the wood. And
you work by yourself?
I do, yeah. I mean, every once in a while, I'll have somebody come in if it's something heavy that I need to have a second on. But I prefer it that way. It's kind of my kind of sanctuary. So.
Yeah, I mean, I'm the same way when I get in the woods.
Yeah,
I like to hunt alone. My wife flips out. She's like, "You're going in that swamp again by yourself?" I'm like, "Yeah, you know what? If that's my fate, that's my fate.
Right?
Sorry, I got a great policy.
Yeah,
but it's so we got some pictures that we're gonna pass through here while I'm chatting. So you so for our guest, he took a risk, goes to California, gets an acting gig, bartends, meets a contractor. I'm going to play back the tape here, and starts to do more construction work. And then you end up leaving California and starting your company in South Carolina? Or?
In South Carolina, yeah. So I had done a show, which I never thought I would fall into.
Oh, yeah. Talk to us about that show, because that was kind of a big deal.
Yeah. As an actor, you never really... Especially when I went out to LA in 98, reality television was just starting. And it was something I swore I'd never be a part of. Not interested. I don't want to be myself. As an actor, that's kind of like kryptonite. You never want to, emulate yourself. Where's the fun in that? You want to be an actor. You want to portray a character. But I fell into carpentry, and a buddy of mine had gone in for... I happened to call him this day that he went in an audition for. They were rebooting Extreme Makeover Home Edition. It used to be with ABC, and HGTV at the time had bought the property. And so they were recasting it. And he had just come out on an audition. He said, "Oh, I just went in for that. You should submit for this." And so I did. So, well, the submission was you had to submit a video of yourself woodworking, but the deadline was the next day. So I raced down to my shop and basically just shot a bunch of different stuff of me doing whatever, building something. And
is that how the Dancing Carpenter came to be?
Yeah, kind of. And so anyway, they reached out, and I submitted it, and they reached out and they said, let's talk more. We kept talking, and then out of about, I think there was 2,500 submissions, they whittled it down to about 18 people, and we all went to a house that was being built, and that was the test. So in acting world and that world is called, you go in for a test. So it's a chemistry test. So they see who all interacts with each other the best way, or if you're right for the part. And I went in and ended up with a girl named Bregan Jane and Carrie Laughlin. We just had the best chemistry, and by the grace of God, ended up to be the three of us. And so we shot this show in 20...
So your friend didn't make it?
What's that?
Did your friend?
He didn't make it. He didn't make it. But he's actually an excellent carpenter as well.
I didn't mean to bring that back up.
No.
If he watches this, I apologize.
No, Jay's one of my closest friends, and he's an amazing carpenter in his own right. And he was on a show. He was on a show for Ellen. Ellen had a design show,
Okay.
and he was the host. So he got a shot too.
But he didn't invite you on that one, did he?
No. See, yeah, Jay, if you're watching. Yeah, so anyway, we ended up shooting this show in 2019. We did 10 episodes. The show, the reason why I wanted to be a part of it, getting back to saying I'd never be a part of reality television, I would for this because it was about giving back. And we gave deserving families, people that were really down on their luck, lived in shoe boxes or for whatever reason couldn't afford their bills, or we gave these houses to them that we built them in, we really built them in 5 days and delivered it on the 7th. And you're talking about a 6-bedroom house built in 5 days.
So you're 24 hours a day.
Yeah, I mean,
like no minimal sleep.
Yeah, we got to sleep, but we had 500 skilled tradesmen and 500 volunteers on every episode.
So you were
There's 1,000
essentially
people.
GCing the situation, or how? Or
Yeah, so I was kind of the contractor or builder in the situation. I mean, we did have a contractor from each community come down. So I was basically the conduit between the viewer and the contractor. So kind of explaining what's going on. And then the two designers, the two girls, kind of handled more of the design. And I would kind of talk about the building. And we did 10 episodes, 10 houses. It was amazing. Yeah, it was amazing. And then, so when that ended, I really kind of re-examined where I was. And, at that time, the acting roles hadn't come around in a while. And
when were you on Sons? What year was that?
I was, Sons was 2008, 2000.
Yeah.
Maybe later, maybe 2010, and I'm not sure, somewhere around there.
Okay.
And I just was like, I really kind of going back to what we said earlier. Well, I wanted to get back to that hometown feel. I'd visited Charleston a bunch.
Amazing.
It felt
My business
very,
partners from there. I love it.
It felt very familial. That everybody knew each other, kind of in downtown area, and I was like, I want to live there. So I took a shot and moved to Charleston. And then I opened up. And I was on the coattails of Extreme, so I had kind of cemented myself as a builder or a craftsman. And I thought, well, this is a good time for me to transition. And I have a name for myself, so this is a great time for me to reinvent. So
yeah, those changes, I've been through them. I've talked about it quite a bit, but I was in the mortgage business, then flipped that into consolidation, and then ended up here with Core. And, I can tell you the transition from what I did before Core was selling motorcycles. And then, before I was in the mortgage business, when I came down, I was selling bikes. And then I was petrified when I got into the mortgage business. And then I was petrified again when I started debt consolidation. And now I'm the most confident human being in the world with Core Medical. It was just the place I was supposed to be.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of, like the fear of the unknown when I started Core, but it felt so natural. Like when I got when I got behind the scenes and like really started putting the business together properly and like taking my time. Those other businesses were, I tell everybody, I'm 45 now. I mentor kids that are younger, 18 to 23. And I tell them all, guys, please don't act smart because you're going to be embarrassed of how you acted from your teens when you're 20, when you're in your 20s, when you're 30, you're going to look back and say, oh my God, what a dummy I was, But because, age in that time makes a big difference in life. Those life experiences are huge. And, a lot of the audience, a lot of people, because the majority of our patients are U.S. military, have known one thing for a very long period of time. So that fear of the unknown of change is something that you really have to just take on full face and just say, I'm going to do something. I don't know what it is yet, but I'm going to just jump all in. And I do think faith plays a big role in that. And I also think reaching out to the community and finding people that you're attracted to and asking them for help are huge. I'm a big fan of that. Fun fact, I'm not the best reader, so I can't pick up a book and read how to learn something. So if I want to learn how to build this charcuterie board, I'm going to call you and say, hey man, can I come watch you do this?
I'm the same. I'm the same exact way. I have to watch it. I have to be there. I have to feel it. I can't watch a YouTube video and learn how to do things. It's like I need to be there. I need to have somebody talk to me. it's part of the process for me.
The fucked up part about a YouTube video is like the beginning portion of it. I'm like, dude, just get to the part I need to know.
Right, exactly.
It's
I
like,
didn't hear all the stuff.
It's like 10 minutes of like intro.
Yeah.
Like, dude, I just want to know how to put where the screw goes. You know?
But to get back to your point too, I think that being afraid, being scared to start something new, feeling like you're not where you should be, anxiety, the depression that comes with that can come with that. Those are all normal things, and I think that we're in the landscape now where, we look at our phones and we look at Instagram and TikTok and whatever. And, we're not going to post our worst days. People post the best trips, the new car they bought, the new boat, the this, the that, and we're, you're careful not to fall into the trap where you're judging yourself through a lens, because you're looking at other people and saying, why don't I have all those things? And so I think, normalizing what you said, going through the fear and the anxiety and all those things, those are all normal emotions to have when you're starting anything new. You're going to have days when you just didn't work out. I had one yesterday. I called Erica and I was like, I had the worst day today. I just can't make anything work.
Yeah.
And I was like, just deal with me for a second. I'm going to vent, and I'm like on the phone going, the garage doors, it's not rolling up. The guy won't fix it. It's driving me crazy, and
Still a high class problem.
Yeah. but I think that
But I'm the same way.
Yeah,
I'm the same exact way.
Yeah.
It's gonna be something small will set me off, but
Yeah.
a big problem now will come on, and I'll embrace it, and it doesn't
Yeah.
even bother me because I want to overcome the big one. The small one I don't want to deal with, so I
Right.
bitch.
But I think just normalizing the journey is what I would say. Is like nothing's ever perfect, and you have to fight through it. And anything worth having is worth fighting for.
100%.
You have to go through that gauntlet.
I've had some interesting people on here that have gone through the ringer, and Mel took a saying over, and he said, the people that haven't gone through that valley,
Right.
like that valley, and like have gone through that like real hard place in life,
Yeah.
are missing life.
Yeah.
And it's like, those feelings of like being disappointed and scared and like having a family, not knowing if you're gonna be able to feed them, or if you're gonna lose your house. I think that those are what really builds character in people, because for me, I'm a big gratitude guy, right?
Yeah.
Like I try to at least once a week call someone like I'm grateful for and tell them,
Yeah.
right? Because and I have a lot of people I'm grateful for. Like, I didn't figure this out on my own. There's no such thing as self-made. I hate that saying.
Yeah.
I want to punch people in the face and say it.
Right.
Because, the reality of it is from the time you come out of your mother, you're not self-made.
Yeah.
Like there's no, like she brought you to this world, right? And then your people are feeding you, and then you're growing a business. And then, I don't know any people that are worth $3 or $4 million that don't have staff members, so those people kind of helped a little bit too. You know what I mean? So it's kind of insulting to me. So like the one thing I've been trying to push a little bit more on the podcast is trying to get people motivated to ask for help and go for guidance, because like there's no better feeling in the world when some kid comes up to me and says, hey, dude, I just got this bow. I'm at this archery range. I have no idea what I'm doing. I can see you're really good at this. Can you show me what you're doing?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to say no to that kid.
Yeah.
And that works in every dynamic. If someone wants to start a business and come to me, like, let's put a business plan down together. Like, that stuff's fun for me.
Yeah.
Like, and as I get older, I really enjoy helping others more.
Yeah.
Like, that's like a big thing for me now. And, a lot of stress is off of me at this point, which is great.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it doesn't make me feel good when other people are super stressed out and I have the ability to help, right?
Yeah.
So just like, probably every time you move somewhere new, like it was like, shit, like this is a new place now. I don't know where anything is. I don't know what's going on. We have to ask for that guidance. So if you're listening to this podcast and you need help, call me.
Yeah, I think it's leaving your ego at the door. Especially in woodworking, there are so many tricks and tips and things that I have no idea about. I'm not by far, an expert at woodworking. I'm still learning. I learn every day. I'm amazed by guys that can do so much more than me, and I watch them and try to emulate what they're doing. And I worked with a guy in South Carolina who was renting a space. Well, he was working for a space that was near mine. Master carpenter named Jim, and Jim just, I just would soak up what he was telling me because he just, like, the guy knew everything. And so I think to your point, you got to leave your ego at the door, and you're never going to know everything. Somebody's always going to be smarter at you, maybe not all encompassing, but they might have a piece that it
can change your entire entire
trajectory.
perspective.
Yeah.
Exactly. So with the carpentry, what are your goals right now with that? What are the builds going to be? And then we're going to talk about the dancing carpenter, because that's my favorite thing.
I think that right now the goal is to do custom work. I love furniture. I like kind of the new mid-century modern take on furniture, which is kind of a revival from the 50s and 60s furniture that's coming back, and so I really want to dig into making pieces for the community, whether somebody needs a custom dining room table that's a little bit different, or a custom built-in, things like that. That's what inspired me, especially my own designs. I love, I always think no design is your own. Somebody's already done something like it. So what I love to do is look at what inspires me, and then I can do that a little bit different, and do it a little bit different. I might be able to offer something completely, different from what they're offering.
So everything's basically a one-off type situation that you do, more or less?
That's the niche that I hope to kind of carve out.
Well, I mean, I think that's actually amazing, especially where you live now down here, because people have a different type of mindset to where there's a lot of money. So for instance, for me to walk into someone's house and be like, wow, I've never seen a table like that before, is going to drive a lot of traffic. I think that's a great direction to go in. There's a lot of, I'm a big fan of Restoration Hardware. I like it a lot, but there's some really cool people that are doing that type of stuff, and that no one's ever seen. And I think that, this area, especially that you're in, is probably going to work really well with that business plan.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the box stores that you see, and I agree with you. Like, I love Restoration Hardware. I love some of the stuff in West Elm. We buy it for our own home, different pieces. But you bang into that the wrong way. You peel it back. A kid takes a toy to it. It's particle board for the most part in the middle, so it's engineered. It's made in a factory. There's not a lot of it that's handmade. So what you're getting with hiring a custom woodworker is a solid piece that's actually made completely of lumber, and it's hand hewn, and it's made for you. So I think that's the difference. A lot of people, I had a guy once reach out to me in LA when I was starting my business. I had a little shop in downtown LA, and a friend of mine said, "Hey man, I really want this console. Do you think you could build it for me?" And I said, "Yeah man, send me a picture of it." So he sends me a picture of IKEA. Of an IKEA console. I said, man, just go down to IKEA and buy that, because there's no way I'm matching an IKEA price.
I can't fuck with that store. Anxiety. I can't.
It's like,
I can't. I walk in that place and I feel like cattle. I'm like, what's going on? I'm like following people through the aisles, and like you have to like pick all these things out. I'm like, I can't do it. I'd rather sit in an empty room.
Yeah, and then putting it together is just
You then started a very popular Instagram page, which is the Dancing Carpenter.
Yeah.
Can you talk about that a little bit?
I did it. Okay, so the backstory is, it sounds ridiculous, but I loved 80s movies growing up. 80s movies always had a dance interlude. If you don't remember, they always had like some sort of montage that was to some great 80s song.
Okay.
And that doesn't really exist in movies anymore. I don't know, it just always appealed to me, and
it's gone pretty viral.
Yeah, man. I was in the shop one day, and I put on some goofy 80s song and danced to it, and and posted it. And a friend of mine reached out and said, hey, that was really funny. You should keep doing those.
Oh,
You know?
really?
Yeah. And that was kind of like, really? You don't think it's goofy? It's funny. It was Bill Burr's wife,
Yeah.
Mia. She was in an acting class with me. And,
Okay.
And she had reached, just sent me a message and was like, this is really funny. You should keep doing it. And so I did it a couple more times. And then after the show, I was in a bigger shop and I did it in there, and that one got like 2 million hits or something. And I thought, okay, I guess this is a thing. And you know what? I don't take myself serious. It's really stupid. It's really goofy. I know that. But in the beginning, I get comments from people that are, they're walking through cancer, or or they've just had somebody pass away, and they send me the sweetest messages. They're like, I really needed this today. Like, I just needed the laugh. And so that's why I kind of keep doing it, and I try not to take myself too seriously, and it's just goofy. I'm not a dancer. I've never been to a dance class. I mean, this is really all I got.
Yeah.
But I just, it's just fun for me, and I'm glad that it resonates.
Yeah, no, it's stuff like that's interesting, because there's a lot of people that really hate on the fact that people have something really cool like that.
Yeah,
right.
Oh yeah.
Because there's
I
more
get
people
those
out-
messages.
Yeah, and they're sitting there like, how can I piss this guy off by DMing him because he's doing something that I didn't think of, right?
Yeah.
And the fact that that person called you and kind of gave you that insight, I think is amazing, because like most people don't have friends that are really gonna call. There's things are more difficult than they were before, and the fact that someone called you and said you should keep doing this is actually super cool.
Yeah.
I mean, fuck the people that don't like it. I mean, I like it.
Yeah.
So, and being different and having like an element of you're inside of a shop and you're dancing around, and your work is amazing. It's gorgeous. Like my whole family like to where they were all they were so pumped up, and I think the fact that you're not just like so on point and so angry, and you're just kind of just not fighting with the wood and dancing around is great, and I think a lot more people should take that approach for a portion of their life.
Yeah.
Because that makes you a lot more approachable.
Yeah.
It makes you a lot more approachable, and it makes people think, wow, this guy's he's a happy-go-lucky dude doing what he loves, and there's a lot of people that are angry as hell making millions, and then they hate what they do.
Yeah.
So that stuff's really, really important.
Yeah, I never force it either. I mean, Erica will tell you, there are days when I just won't do it because I'm having a bad day, and I'm like, I'm not gonna do it because it's, I look at it as if I'm not feeling anything to film it or to do. If I force it, then it's a betrayal to myself, and it's a betrayal to the people that are like tuning in to have a smile.
Yeah.
So So yeah, but yeah, it's
and it
turned
keeps
into,
people checking the page to make sure that they didn't miss something.
It's turned into a Monday thing, which is fun.
So before we close out here, I'm going to bring up. So a lot of times people come aboard at Core and they don't need testosterone, but there's other things that we offer, and we offer a lot of different things that help with some different issues. There's on-label use and off-label use, and some medications are great for things that we find out after we prescribe them. Like for instance, the hive situation. I think that you were talking about. So
yeah. I've been with Cornell for 2 years. I'm doing my blood work today again, which is great. It's always good to keep on top of that and see where your levels are. I'm lucky. I have a core medical employee that lives with me. So Erica keeps track of my blood work. But yeah, I take BPC 157 and also glutathione. The glutathione has helped me with the hives. I got it just came out of nowhere a couple years ago, about a year and a half ago, I guess. I had like a couple hives show up, and then before I knew it. A couple days later, my face, I looked like Elephant Man.
Really?
And we couldn't figure it out, you know. And I
Could it be from like a wood that you were working with or
it
something?
could be. I mean, you know, it's obviously an autoimmune response. We're not
Uh-huh.
sure what exacerbates it. But yeah, we've been trying to figure it out. I did a fast, so I fasted for 3 months, which was crazy.
You fasted?
Yeah, I mean, I basically we juiced. So just juice every day, just fruit. Lost a lot of muscle during the process.
I would be.
I was cranky.
I would have been an angry.
yeah.
I just quit dipping.
Yeah.
Like a month ago.
Yeah.
And the first week and a half, people were like, "Dude, you need to stay in your house until this is
Yeah.
over."
So the fasting helped a lot. It definitely brought down the response. And then I think pairing that with glutathione, I started to do glutathione, and I started to do turmeric and chaga mushrooms, and like a supplement. And those things have helped. I still get them, but I'm kind of I take allergy medication every day, and it seems to help a lot. So
Good stuff.
yeah. But I'm happy that Core is here to help me in my journey.
Yeah.
And, so.
We have we've had some interesting people talk about that glutathione, how it works with like actually I think it was Charles Blaisdell's dog was dying young of cancer, and he put him on glutathione. The dog lived like another 5 years. They said the dog was going to die in like 3 months. It was crazy. The super antioxidants work amazing. Like I take it all the time. And for me, cardiovascular wise, and just my overall, like even my skin, it's been really, really good for me too. That glutathione is one of my favorite medications that we offer here. So
yeah, I think there's something that you just don't count on, and you get. For me, I was about 46 when I really noticed a change in my body. Where it just was like, man, I can't lift as heavy as I used to. I used to be I felt like I was a monster. Like I was in CrossFit, always very exercised every day, active, and then I reached that about 46, and I it just changed, and my body composition changed. So I've really been these last years, I'm 48 now, just really kind of fighting Father Time and punching back and trying to get back there. So Core has helped a lot with that. So for sure. Yeah.
Thank you. Well, I want to thank you so much for taking the time out today. And I'm going to have Erica will be on next. And
Awesome.
Thanks so much for coming down.
Thanks, brother. Appreciate it.